What's good, guys? Today we're going to be looking at trend lines, how to draw trend lines for beginners. So first of all, in order for you to decide which trend line you should use, first you need to look at your market structure. You need to look if you're in an upward trend or a downward trend so that you're able to use the correct trend line. There are two, let's say three types of trend lines. There's a upward trend line and then a downward trend line, and also a trend line that you can use horizontally on a consolidating trend. Okay, let's just see that you opened your chart and then you can see that you're actually in an uptrend and you want to draw your trend line, which is your upward trend line. An upward trend line represents bullish momentum. So if it's respected, it means we're gonna take buys, we're gonna be going bullish. Okay, so let me show you how you can draw a trend line. So a correct trend line is drawn like this. You must make sure that you connect your troughs for the upward trend line. You must connect the visible troughs or the troughs that are on the outside. As you can see here, I'll connect from this point, then I touch this second point, I touch this third point, and then I touch this fourth point. For you to avoid being stopped out, always trade starting from the third point going forward. Because if you start with the second point, there's high probabilities that you might be stopped out. So the third point going forward, or the fourth points, are the best for you to execute your trades. On a downward trend line, how can you draw your trend line? So you look for where you can connect your price. As you can see here, I'll connect 1, 2, and 3. So this black ink is serving as my downward trend line. So where do I enter? I enter on the third connection for sales. And then if you're looking at a consolidating trend, you can either draw your trend line on top or down. So how do I do it? You come here, you connect the first point to the second point to the third point. Same as down here, first point, second point, third point, and fourth point. So it means on a consolidating trend, I'll be taking my trades for buys underneath here, and then for sales, I'll be looking to take sales over here. Okay, so for upward trend lines, you must pick your troughs, and then for downward trend line, you choose your peaks. Okay, and then you connect your trend line with every point of your market structure. So with that being said, let's say you want to be practical and you want to see how you can draw your trend lines on an actual chart. Okay, let's go to our trading view. Let's look for something like BTC USD. Okay, there we go. As you can see here, I already have trend lines drawn. So how did I draw these trend lines? This is going to be my first connection. Okay, let me just move this here. And then I make sure that I touch on the second point all the way to the third point. Okay, so I want to show you something. So every time the market touches my trend line, if it's respected, I go bullish. As you can see here, we went bullish. Okay, on the second point, we went bullish, we went all the way up. Okay, I just want to remove this trend line here. For our downward trend line, look at how I drew my downward trend line. So I was looking for points to connect the visible points. So as you can see, I connected here at first, and then here is my second connection, waiting for the third connection. Then maybe I can tag sales. As you can see, we connected here, and then in future we might connect anywhere else when the market touches our trend line. So I'll just text here on the trend line and say upward trend line. Okay, it's fine like that. And then I'll add also a text here to say downward trend line. Looking good. Okay, there we go. Let's look for a consolidating market, where the market was consolidating the most. I think I had drawn, okay, this is more. So on a consolidating market, this is what I'll do. I'll connect my trend line. I'll just use a horizontal line. Okay, and then what I can do is this. I can get myself a triangle, or a rectangle, I mean, and then I make sure that, so with every touch of my rectangle, I'll be taking buys underneath, and then every touch of my rectangle, I'll be taking sells over here. This is more like a consolidating zone. Okay, so that's all about it. This is how you draw trend lines, and this is how you can use trend lines to your fullest potential. So in the next video, we're gonna go deeper into trend lines. If you watched my previous video, I showed you guys how to see market structure, how to identify market structure when you look at the market. So videos will keep on coming and coming, so just be on the lookout. If you're a beginner, this is the page for you. So please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. It's your boy Mr. Any Markets, and I'm out.